Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Fateless podcast episode. Joining me from the Fateless team is going to be Dirk, and then we've got two returning guests in Brandon and Charlemagne. What is up? Good to see you again, Brandon.
Howdy, howdy. Hope everybody's doing well out there.
Very nice. And then Charlemagne, how you been since the last episode? Everything still good?
Hey, yeah, no, things are still good. In fact, actually, Brad, first time on the podcast.
Oh, it is. I just assumed you were a returning guest.
No, dude, I grabbed you on my own
Let's
channel.
go.
That's why it feels
That's
like
right.
this is
That's right. Because
right?
I've talked to you so much that I just kind of
He,
assumed. Well,
he
then,
deals with
well
so
then,
many guests with comfy
yeah,
fireplace
yeah.
backgrounds that you just get them mixed up. But
Right. Well, then give the quick intro here about kind of your channel and what you do and your gaming history and all that good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Charlemagne. I'm a content creator that's relatively new to the YouTube space. My goal is to bring solely Godforge focused content at the highest quality I know how. So whether it be, the content I'm creating or the community that grows around this game, I just hope that everything that we do just resembles that. And so, check out my channel, join me in the journey, and I'm looking forward to just serving you with great content as Godforge Alpha starts and the whole game launches. When it comes to just like my experience, talking about gaming and everything like that, I grew up, on a PC. I played Commander Keen, a side scroller in my dad's lap when I was a kid. I played the first and second Call of Duty on my computer, just running around Tunisia, shooting, bolt action rifles, and really just like stepped into the realm of full on competitive gaming as I grew up and eventually just kind of like got burned out from that. I was becoming and really falling into like toxic behaviors and just really not enjoying the person it was making me. And so I gave all gaming up. But as I'm sure a lot of people understand, like hobbies like that don't just go away and they find new outlets. And that's what brought me to mobile gaming and eventually in 2020, Raid Shadow Legends. So been a free to play Raid Shadow Legends player for about 5 years and saw a great opportunity and a great community when it came to Godforge. So that's why I'm here.
Awesome, awesome. Love to see it. And yeah, we'll link the channels down below for sure to check out Brandon and Charlemagne and what they're up to. So, let's go ahead and kick it off. I think you had a discussion to post kind of here to get us started in terms of what was kind of on your mind today.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we were chatting about kind of what we wanted to talk about today, this concept that's continually kind of been pressing on my mind recently is, kind of bridging the gap in types of players that make their way to Godforge, right? So no game serves one type of player. And so when it comes to designing a game and bridging the gap between the casual and the veteran, how do you guys as game developers kind of support and create systems that enable the more casual player to feel like they can succeed in a game that may or may not be more complex, while still rewarding that veteran player who really wants to sink their teeth into the more complex mechanics that are available in a game.
Dirk, go
yeah,
ahead.
go Jim. Well, I think we have several goals. I guess we're trying to do for at least like the newer casual player is we want you to feel pretty strong early on, and then we're also kind of at least like we're experimenting with this right now in our alpha build, and obviously in the release version of the game too, is like how much of the early experience to kind of curate. Because like raid, everyone knows you get you pick your starting hero Kale, and then after that you get the sniper, and then you're gonna get I don't remember the name anymore, the healer chick. Anyways, like those are
War
guaranteed stuff.
Maiden.
Yeah, yeah, War Maiden. You're not like randoming that. This is who you're getting, and we're trying to. They do this so obviously you're kind of set up for success. You don't end up with like a team that like literally loses on the fourth stage or something, right? So we are messing around, like kind of curating and like putting together a good team, but not necessarily like the dream team. Like we've already been doing some testing, and I think in our last build, the team we gave you was just it was too good that you didn't need to even switch to anything else. And we're like, I mean, we're 50 stages in because beyond that was damn near impossible with the way things were scaling. But yeah, none of us had changed our team. Not a single one of us. We're all like, okay, we've got Aphrodite, we've got like and we had someone on the list and was like, well, this is good and it provides a great experience because you're getting a team, but then there's almost none of the like it's almost like too casual friendly because then you are the player who wants to sink your teeth in. You'd almost be like, what do we need to explore? I got everything I need here. So I guess like finding how much content to curate is a big part of it, which we're still working on testing. Like so in the current alpha build that you guys will play, it's not so guaranteed who you get. There's still a few along the way that you will get. I don't know. I guess I don't want to spoil it, but like there's there's a couple rares you're guaranteed to get in the first like 10 waves, as well
Right.
as an epic. There's at least one fixed epic. The rest are like from a small pool now. So we're testing that out. I'm like, yeah, I think that's one of the big ways is like curating content. And then like I said earlier, we want everything to kind of feel like powerful. So early on, like you can kind of, I don't know, I guess we'd like to turn like the casual player into a little more of a hardcore player. So we're giving them like the fun toys to play with early on. Someone was saying in a meme this morning, like they're talking about like, man, some of these rares are really good, like Scotty. And I was just telling Sham last night, up until yesterday, I thought Scotty was a legendary. Like this is a rare. And like the whole time, like put the character in the game, like to design the kit and to put the like all the effects and stuff on the character. And I'm like, well, it just felt like a legend. The effects look like a legendary. The kit feels like a legendary. And I'm like, how is this a damn rare? So I think that's another way is she's not like complex, but she's just friggin' strong and fun. And it's like there's a lot of that. Like you'll get some good toys as like if you just dip your toes in, you're gonna get something fun to play with. And that'll hopefully kind of pull you in and try to draw you into some of the more complex mechanics. Because then what are you really doing? You're just collecting gear and upgrading it, right? And then kind of just building upon that. So once you get, oh man, these characters are sweet. I'm liking the game. It feels fun. I feel great doing everything. There's a lot of things hopefully feel very good to use. I think Leonidas's ult will be a good good representation of what we're aiming for there. But things will just feel fun to use. And you're like, oh, how do I make these numbers bigger? Okay, we'll start upgrading. And then, yeah, eventually anyone could turn into like that min-maxer.
Got to watch out for those rares that Brad designs.
I'm hearing a rare only alpha run in our future.
I think you could do it for sure. It's
By the way, I got to fact myself. I think War Maiden is the defense down rare.
yeah.
Yes.
I think
She's named very similar.
Valerie. Is it Valerie? That's the like early game healer.
No, it's like War
Yeah.
something though. It's something
you
very
get-
similar to War Maiden. That's why I was thinking
you
War
get,
Maiden in my head. too.
You get the uncommon sniper, then you get Conqueror, the uncommon, and then you get Valerie. The
Valerie, I
issue
was
is
right.
A little bit of a heal. Yeah.
Right.
It's been like 2.5
then you
years
get,
for me.
yeah, and then
So-
you get that 7-day login that gives you like a single revive or whatnot.
Shaman.
But
Yeah,
but at this
the
stage,
orc.
like I don't even know if it's you get that or if you
There's-
get whatever 7-day they're running or who even knows these
I think
days.
they changed
Also,
it.
War Priest is a rare.
Yeah, War
revive.
Priest is what I was thinking.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
yeah,
that you
I don't-
get her
well-
like day one also.
yeah, she's
Yeah.
like your second pull. I think it's Sniper then War Priest.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Well,
War
it's
Priest.
fun. I do find that it kind of stinks though. Like we were giving everyone too good of a team, and I think a lot of the fun of these runs is like that, almost like the roguelike aspect of it. And it's not a roguelike, right? But like you don't know who you're gonna get, as long as not too much of it's curated. And like depending who you get is gonna kind of shape your entire run. So like this alpha run for everyone, if you pull certain legendary early on, you might have a completely different experience as someone else who pulled like this epic early on. Maybe like your team was way easier just the whole way through, or maybe some fights for you, like you just like crushed them and everyone else is like, how the hell did you beat that? But then meanwhile, like they're crushing something. Yeah. So
Right.
there is a lot of fun to like not having everyone be on exactly the same path. So you can kind of let everyone like explore what's good and then kind of like get together in the community aspect of like, oh man, when you get Hercules, oh boy, you're gonna plow through these waves, versus someone else is like, oh man, if you get like Ra, you're gonna just melt like this wave with the high health guys. So yeah, it just depends.
Well, and Dirk, do you want to? I know you had a lot to do with like the gearing and stuff. Do you want to walk people through the plan on live? Because the gearing will be pretty easy for like a new player. It'll be free to move stuff around and all that. But then we do have some mechanics that allow you to kind of like min max and match things and really get more kind of benefits out of gearing as opposed to just kind of throwing stuff on, which you can do early game.
Yeah, the gearing is it's actually one of my favorite parts so far. I think it's turning out well just in practice now, like playing the alpha build. It's similar to what you'd expect in a gacha game, but we did try to kind of dip into like more old school, like I guess RPGs or even like Diablo-ish. So the gear is gonna look somewhat Diablo-ish, but it's gonna behave a lot more like kind of a cross between Raid and Watcher of Realms, Watcher of Realms just in terms of like UI presentation of the gear. Raid maybe more in terms of like the kind of roles you're looking for. But yeah, the gear system. So we have armor and you have weapons. And they are very different in what you're getting. See, with 10 stats, all 10 stats can be found within armors. The main stat, and then there's gonna be a number of substats depending on its I think rarity. We have our rarity and quality is a little bit different, but it still kind of translates the same. It's not quite the same, like, oh, I got the 5-star legendary gear, I got 6-star legendary. We're using more like kind of like a prefix suffix system in a sense, or the prefix in like you get like superior nightweave of like of the bear or something like
But
that.
it will
And
still
like,
be listed with like a Roman numeral, right? So we still kind of have like the star.
yeah,
system.
yeah. Like I said, we're kind of using like a quality system instead of the stars, like crude, damage, superior, was
And
master weave.
something I'm excited about is attunement, because I think that's a good way for players to kind of get into gearing without a huge investment. And then
Yeah.
once they're ready to start min-maxing, we have a capability for you to do that.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not almost in, but yeah, our attunement system. So gear in our game, like I said, we have weapons, armor. You can freely swap your gear around to anyone, which I know has been like a question, and I think we've answered that. So gear swapping is free. What we did add though, it's going to be like reminiscent of having to pay to unlock your gear, and I think this is like for good reason, is because there needs to be a feeling of build permanence and some sort of incentive to not make you just spend 90% of your time playing the game swapping gear on characters. We want you actually playing the game. This is a problem I have in games I found where I can swap gears. I'm just
Hey, for some people, that is playing the game.
yeah. I don't know, just
Content
too much
creators.
time swapping gear around. But we're like an attunement system in where like I was talking before, there's different types of gear, and there's also like with the gear, like you're not just like everyone's wearing the same gear. There's also like a sort of class-based gear. Anyone can wear it, but it'd be like chain versus plate versus leather armor. So you could get that same like crude chain gloves of the bear, or you can
And
get
Dirk made sure to get
crude-
his like silk cloth in there.
yeah, oh yeah.
So-
See, somehow we have cloth in the guy. I thought you're past that, but we're going back to it. I want fine silk, like only the finest silks, especially if you want speed. But yeah, it's a different like armor types. And then if you are wearing the right armor type on the specified class or that armor type, you can attune it, which is where you just pay some silver, gold, and get a bonus. And then it's just some extra stats. When you unequip it, you would lose your attune bonus. So you'd have to reattune it and whoever you're gonna put it on. So that's kind of like our form of adding some sort of build permanence, or like deterrent from just spam swapping. But until you like decide to commit to it, like, I mean, that's a big commitment because it's not going to be a massive bonus, but it's enough that like later on, you're going to want everyone in their correct armor types. But,
Right.
Like kind of the saying earlier on is like stats before sets. In ours, it's more like stats before sets before attunement. So it's kind of like another layer that you're going to work towards at the very end. It's like, oh, you got the right set with all the perfect stats, right? Oh, but you're wearing chain on your DPS. Oh boy, that's not good. Did you want to tune there, right?
Yeah, and the tough part is, like you said, a lot of the stuff isn't yet in for the alpha phases, so people aren't going to get to see the full kind of lay of the land of what the gearing is going to be, but that stuff will be there for the live launch. But Brandon, I want to let you jump in here as well. Did you have
Sure.
any input or topics or questions that you wanted to kind of run by us or anything?
Right now, just off the top of my head, the biggest burning question I have is, are we going to have a locked-in 20-minute tutorial to go through?
No.
It's funny.
No.
I actually had a question about that as well. So yeah,
What was your
Sure.
question, Charlemagne, in
Well,
relation to that?
really, it's like, so at the very beginning, first time we're playing, sure, but players, as you guys are really well aware, I think we've all done it. We recreate accounts, and whether it be a free to play challenge or just whatever, what have you, it's like, okay, I've done all this. I'm not a new player, even though the data may look like I'm a new player. Is there going to be that skip function? Is there going to be the way to say like, hey, I don't need this?
Yeah, you could skip right from the get go, and even if you don't
Okay.
skip, it's very very similar to Raid's intro, like the initial, like you're gonna go wave, boss, die, pick a starter, play the game. Once you get to that pick a starter, play a game part, that's it. You're playing the game. There's no more like we've like cut a lot of the hand holding out from there. And instead, we're gonna kind of anything that we feel like you might need to have like some hand holding or whatever, it'll just come up like when it's relevant, but there's not going to just be some railroad in the beginning where like the first day you don't get to make a single choice of your own. It's like, because I hate that feeling so much where you're like, all right, now let's go do the first level. Oh, did you get gear from that? Let's go upgrade that gear, put it on like a big boy and go back out to the second level. You got more gear? Okay, like rarely we cut walking there. I played some games where it's like the second damn chapter of the game you're still on is that railroad, and you're like, do I get to play this? Like, I want to just like try. I don't want to spend like gems on this gear. Stop making me to know.
Yeah, I don't even make
It's
it
so
to that
annoying.
second chapter on those games.
Yeah, you check it out, right? So no, it's you can skip the story if you want. If you want to play through it, it's like 20 seconds max, and it's like visually satisfying. It's a spectacle. You're coming out of our high budget cutscene, so you're already like, oh man, this game's real deal. We went on, full expense on this one. You see that, and you're going into the game. You're like, I hope the game is as sweet as that cutscene. And I think visually, it's like it's competent enough. Where you're gonna say like, oh, okay, that was pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. Ra's gonna come in, smoke. Yeah, he looks freaking sweet. So by the end of it, you're like, just kind of hyped up, and it's not wasting your time. And like, I mean, what do you need to know how to play these games, right? You click a button, you click an enemy, and like, there's 3 buttons. Like, so it's not like there's a lot to click, and all the buttons are gonna do something to the enemy. So you can kind of figure it out. So as long as you learn by the end of it, like these are the buttons, these are the enemies. Click, go. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, and to answer it more, like if you want like a direct answer, even if you play the tutorial, it should be like 2.5, 3 minutes. We're not gonna,
So it's like 20 seconds. We've got
yeah, we're not gonna lock you into some 15-minute you can't click your screen or anything like some games do. So it should be pretty concise. And then we also, one thing we've talked about internally as a team is we think it's great to have community websites and Discord servers with all these resources and stuff, but we don't want players to feel like forced into that. Like, what is this debuff? What does that do? Like now I gotta go to Google and look up like what Godforge Despair. What does that do? We want like even if it's not gonna be in like the tutorial, we want like an area where there's a codex type thing where when you do have time and you're like, okay, now I want to dive into some of the mechanics. I like this game. I want to learn what's going on. There'll be a spot where you can really deep dive. You're laying on your couch, you're bored, you want to read through stuff, and we want to have that for you in game as well.
Paul Sapphire, he does the Hellhades site. And he is very big on wanting to get a nice expansive like wiki built into the game. So that should be very helpful too, especially when you're just kind of figuring out what you want to do next, kind of just poking around in the game on the look at stuff, like having all the info in there. Like again, this is someone who wants to, if you want to deep dive, I think presenting all the stuff in the game for you to start like poking through like all the mechanics and whatnot. It'd be nice to have that.
Yeah, the only thing that I have a thought regarding like this codex and whatnot, it's like where it's available and everything. I'm like I said, I'm a raid player. It's where most of my experience comes from in this genre. But I'm thinking about like, okay, this new part of the game has come out. There's this new buff or debuff. I can't quite remember what's going on, and I'm currently facing it or dealing with it in the fight right now. Well, I can go to like the info and look at buffs and debuffs, but it's like, here's this massive list now of everything. And it's
Oh,
like, I don't know if it'd be possible, but it'd be really cool if it's like, okay, in this context, this is what you're dealing with, and here's the information with what you're dealing with, rather than every single thing in the game. Like, I feel like that could be really cool. Keep that information really accessible as well.
Yeah, we do want like I guess relevant like tooltips for things to be like. So yeah, obviously if you have Aether Burn on you right now and you're like, oh, what is this debuff? We don't want to make you go refer to the glossary of like everything. Like that information will be readily available for you on the spot. Like you go like click in the info, the ability, it'll show you Aether Burn with the icon and then the description of what it's doing. So yeah, we will have like at least like I said, like tooltip info readily available. Unfortunately, still in the works, and hopefully we can get it in to the by your guys' alpha build. But like the actual info button in battle, it is kind of unfortunate that isn't quite working yet at the time of testing, because I was just telling Sham yesterday, I'm like, I'm not dealing any damage in this wave, and I don't know if it's because they have ward, which is like our block damage, or because it's a bug and the info panel isn't quite working, and I'm not super confident in identifying our own buff icons yet. So yeah, we definitely, it was kind of, it's one of those things that's like, we know it for the most part, but then all of a sudden, like when you don't know, you're like, oh shit, where do I actually get that? So the info button is coming, but yeah, we do want to have like a decent, so like you shouldn't have to like look for it, but the info will be in game available. So we joked about that because obviously this is, Simon is one of the founders of the game. We're talking about, like, oh yeah, you'll just go to hellhades.com for all of your information needs. And we like the whole game is just once like scam to send traffic to that site.
It's all just your marketing ploy for the HH network.
Just watermark hh.com over top of everything.
Subscribe to
I mean,
Hellhades.
business is business, I guess.
Well, and
gear
we will
optimization is
also-
going to be terrible. Like you're going to have to go to the gear optimizer. No.
We will also have like live, the UI will look a lot different by the time the game launches. We'll also have like live damage numbers, live healing numbers, to be able to like, see those bars moving as you're doing damage and all that. So it'll look a lot different when it actually gets released. But did you guys have any other burning questions or anything to transition to from either one of you?
Well, one thing I actually wanted to go back to, it was mentioned when we were kind of talking through the walkthrough of, the caverns, right? So talking about what's being curated, what's not being curated. Simon has been very vocal on the fact that he got Dracula. And
Yeah, which is lucky. It's not curated.
oh yeah. It's not curated. No, that's not what I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And I think it was even like last week where he mentioned it was like the Fafnir 30 or whatever that it
Mhm.
dropped, and he got really lucky, got that legendary. So clearly not curated, but between everything, because y'all want everybody to experience a lot of the, what is it, 67 heroes that are going to be in the game and everything like that. When there are those chances to drop legendaries, should we be looking forward to semi-curated pools at different
Like it's like a
levels?
small like 5 hero pool is kind of where we
Yeah. And so different levels would have like different pools, and it's like, okay, well, if you want to go try this legendary, or at least like farm to try to get him, so you can therefore try him, you can go to this level versus this level.
Yeah, there will be a bit. Well, I check on. We have like reward. They're kind of meant to fill in the place of like quests at the moment, but you can like get stars for being level at the moment, as you'd expect. But the star requirements. So for one starring a level is just like basically beating it. 2-starring a level at the moment, that's all we have right now, is just 2 stars. 2-starring is like beating the level with some condition that, like, be it using a certain like faction on your team or something like this. There's a whole bunch of different conditions. That's part of what we're just trying out, is like a big expansive list of possible conditions for quests. And then some of those will just have heroes. So if it's like, oh, I really want to try out this guy. Oh, cool. He's a reward for, 2-starring this. Or at the very least, not the hero, but their imprint might be. So like, okay, cool. I didn't get this guy, but I want to try that, his passive out on this weapon. So I can go get him from here. So we will give good access, I guess, that way. And then that's something we want to actually expand to the launch version of the game is it's kind of nice with imprints. Imprints give you like a flavor of the hero without having to give you the hero. And one thing, I know these games, and it's one of those like you don't know what you actually want kind of things, where it's like, obviously in your mind as a player, I want every single hero right now. Sometimes some of these games let you get every hero, and you either end up in a situation where you don't have enough resources, where you have all the heroes in the world, but you're never going to actually get any of them leveled or booked or anything. So it's almost like you stop getting excited for getting your heroes, because you're like, oh, sweet, my 90th new hero that I'll never, ever touch because I only have enough books for 10 heroes this year. And it's just like, well, that's not fun. And then also, other games too, even when you do get the resources, you end up with all the heroes. And then you're like, oh, I wonder how this how do you beat this content? Oh, this is the team you use. Oh, cool. I have exactly all those heroes, because every single person playing this game has every single hero. So everyone does all content exactly the same. I mean, in all these games now, you can literally just like click that stage. Be like, look at the best teams they use. Click that. Like, oh, this is exactly what to do. Copy, paste. Oh, I beat the content. And that's not fun either. It's like you're not even really playing the game at that point. You're just copying, right? So it's actually not that fun to get everything right away. As much as a player, it seems like it would be great. Obviously, when you're polling in your mind, you're like, oh, I'm gonna press this button. I'm just gonna get all legendaries instantly, and like that's a great way that happens through luck, but it's not necessarily great like when you're playing. I think I got a little lost though in that. I think I tangented off from your
No, it's
main.
okay. Brandon, do you have anything to say about that?
Um, as far as like the copy and pasting teams and stuff, yeah, no, that's a massive issue for me from a player standpoint. From content creator standpoint, it's great because we can kind of look at other people for inspiration and stuff and kind of take, okay, well that hero does XYZ. Is there a champion or a hero that does X and Y but not the Z that I can get away with? So that's something from a content creator standpoint that's awesome about the copy and pasting. But from a player standpoint, my most favorite time playing Raid was back before there was a ton of content creators. And me and my boss were sitting at work just talking back and forth. How do we beat Spider 20? We don't have this, neither of us have Cold Heart, or that's the only way anybody knew how to beat it by that time. And so how are we going to do this? And we were having spreadsheets and stuff between us trying to figure it out. And then he pulled Cold Heart, I pulled Septimus, and it made it easy. We were able to get through it. But about a week later, the strat that we were working on, somebody made and got it to work, and we were this close, and we were just we could have had it.
Could have been the
And that's enjoyable for me from just a player standpoint. So like I definitely see that. And speaking of Raid, like you click the best teams in Doom Tower, and it's 3 newts and a reset champ, and it's like, okay,
or all the mythicals.
yeah, I don't have any of those, and I'm like, okay, how do I get past this?
Yeah, I just pulled what's his name, like the new Night Rev, the guaranteed Night Rev for Chimera, whatever his name is. Literally got it today, and that's my second mythical. You can guess who my first one was, Lady Mikage. Like that's it.
Yeah, I mean, don't feel bad. I quit Raid. I just kind of casually log in to do my dailies and log out, and I pulled my Trunda after 5 years. So I can finally beat Hydra.
It's okay. I still don't have a good reset champ. No Kymar, no anything. So
oh man, yeah. That's one thing that's a bummer. Like you get the 1% or whatever for pulling a legendary, but it's like when you pull a legendary, they're stuck in the same drafting pool, so to speak, and they don't have like a lower percentage to be pulled, and then you end up with 17 of one champion, and you're sitting there like, well, why do I even play? Why do I even play?
well, and to kind of like wrap it back in with what we were talking about, right? So there's the difference between like, oh, we can never pull what we want, or we can pull everything. And I think like so when this topic comes up of pulling everything, the game that comes to my mind is I played Eternal Evolution. I don't know if anybody else did, but
For a little bit.
yeah, it's in fact it was like the most time it's kind of like where I found like Susie most after she quit Raid. And that was a game where it's like, okay, if you manage your resources, you can get basically every single champion, and then every single new piece of content is unlocked for you. And then it became such a chore, and it actually like it was its own version of FOMO, because it's like, okay, I know that I could potentially get this champion or whatever they were called, heroes, whatever. But if I don't manage my resources well, or if I overpull this time and I can't get the next one, I don't know what the next one might be. And it was just this terrible system of ever constantly progressing to ensuring you have what you need for the next time. And I mean, the game quickly died because of the developer and other kind of issues like that, but it just wasn't fun because, right, like for a content creator's perspective, I would actually say it kind of puts us out of the job, because a lot of the content around that game was like, oh, here's the updates. Oh, and here's that one team that you need. And then it was like, that's
You
all the
got them.
content. Yeah, that's all the content there was in the game, right? Like, it was just like, okay, well, see you next week or whatever. I'll put up some other kind of video, whatever. And so, no, I think, this topic of everybody thinks they know what they want, but they don't really know what they want. I would agree with what y'all have been saying. It's like, yeah, I want to have that like hunting mentality. I want to be able to go into a game like, okay, like on one of these waves, I want to start with Lady Jacques, and I want to get Dracula. And I want to see what that combo is going to be like. Like, I want to like really lean into bleed and see what we can do and see what kind of damage we can pump out. But like, I want to go on that hunt, right? I don't want to just log in day one, get my starter, get Dracula, and be like, okay, great. Now I'm just gonna do whatever. Um, and so yeah, no, I think it's definitely a balance that you guys are bringing up for sure.
You're definitely on a roll to start with Lady Shock there. So you're already doing good.
Oh,
Gotta get that Dracula.
Well, when I would
little hint there, guys.
I would argue that's part of the magic. Like Brandon, saying, "Oh, I don't have this champion. I don't have Trunda, so now I gotta theory craft. How am I gonna beat Hydra?" And then you're like, "I don't have a reset champion, so now I need to theory craft. What's my experience gonna be like?" I think if everybody just put in Kymar, put in Trunda, let it roll. I think if everybody used the same meta team, that removes the magic. So even though it kind of sucks when you're like, gosh, like 90% of people can use this team, but I can't. Well, everybody has that instance. Like everybody's missing something.
Yeah.
So everybody has to kind of theory craft in certain situations. Like maybe you don't have Kymar, but you do have Duchess and you do have this. So like for me, I never had Siphi. And everybody's missing something. And I instead of everybody having everything, then it just becomes, okay, look up the guide. Oh, okay, I run that team. I put in these 5 heroes. Okay, I'm good. So we do want kind of a middle ground where people have different experiences and the community has a reason to communicate and theory craft. Like, well, if you don't have this champion, so like you want to use this, but where we have to win as designers is like if the answer is simply you have Kymar or you're screwed, just don't even bother playing. Well, then we need to address that and have more than one option and more than one play style that would be at least possible to get through the content.
I think
Hey,
before
as
we went
long
off the
as-
rails, that's sorry, as you say before. I think I got us off the rails. That's what is talking like gear wise is going back to that, Brad. If you didn't get the Kymar, we can keep heroes rare, but we can give you the imprint. So you can still use Kymar's like passive. Let's not Kymar doesn't have passive, but in our game, all legendaries, all rares and up have a passive, and then that passive's like imprintable onto a weapon, and then anyone using that weapon would have like a weaker version of the passive. But so that was like, even if we can't be overly abundant and just showering you in heroes so everyone has everything, we can still give you like the imprints, so you'll still get like a taste of that Dracula. So you might not pull Dracula to go with your Lady Shock right away or your Lady Shock right away, but you can probably get a Dracula imprint and then pop that on the weapon you're using for Lady Shock, and now you're getting a little taste of it until you get that Dracula.
So what exactly are you saying then, Dirk? Because this whole like what has been in the imprint library, and basically like how, like, if I've been a little confused on whether or not champions are even like sacrificed when we gain their imprint on a weapon.
Okay.
Like, are you saying that like y'all are going to be providing, is this like in the alpha? Is like what
Yeah.
what exactly is going to be going on there in terms of imprints and what's available to the player base?
Okay, yeah. So imprints, like I said, anything that's a rare or higher in rarity, so rare epics and legendaries, can be sacrificed. So you discard them, and then you'd get like their imprint, and then with the imprint, you can put that imprint. You can use it, I guess, to awaken. So if you have like a dupe, you can sacrifice your dupe, get the imprint, and then you can use it to awaken them, and that just 5 awakenings. 1, 3, and 5 will give you some like upgrade to an ability. 2 and 4, they'll give you more ult usage in some way. So that's like a system right there for dupes. But then the main system is like your weapon. You could take any imprint, like from any of these rares or above, and just put that on the weapon. And then every weapon can have one imprint on it. And yeah, just basically just get that. You basically get like half of that character's passive, as in like a scaled down version of it.
Like Ramses has a passive, inflict 20% increased damage to enemies under acid. Well, you could take the Ramses imprint, and now you could place that on a weapon and inflict 10% increased damage against enemies under acid. So 10% instead of 20. And it usually kind of mimics that guideline.
What if we imprint Ramses on a weapon that we then give to Ramses?
Where do
Multiplicative
we
or
end up on
additive?
that? Originally, was
Multiplicative or
saying,
additive, guys?
yeah,
Cool,
no,
let's break the game.
so the initial goal was to make everything, I guess, like stackable in a sense where you could do that. But I think we've actually since moved away with it because it ended up just limiting our design space a lot with imprints, where everything had to be basically every single passive on every single character had to be something that was like stackable with itself, or else it would like break the system. And then it just ended up being like not fun for creating some passives. We wanted some passives that, it'd have a really like cool, powerful, unique effect that you couldn't stack. And
We
yeah,
ended
so
up
I appreciate
talking a lot about it when it came to Dracula, because Dracula as a passive and an imprint where the first time, he suffers fatal damage, he can kind of prevent it. And we're like, well, what if we have a whole team where everybody just puts that
yeah,
imprint
how do
on?
you do that by twice? Like, yeah, there was we just like basically couldn't have a fun thing like Dracula's passive,
Right.
imprintable if it had to also stack with himself. So I'm pretty sure that's actually not the case now. I haven't actually tested to make sure that's true, but I'm pretty sure that's not the case at the moment. So
That's
I
our
guess we'll
job. We're gonna have to monitor this
Yeah,
stuff, and then we're gonna
beginning
have
there.
to either prevent stacking or kind of alter the design in some way. And that's why we have alphas and betas and stuff like that, is we'll kind of catch this stuff.
There you go. I mean, it was. So we're talking about every hero with every skill, with every gear set, with every weapon, with every imprint, potentially even, plus awakenings, plus attunements. So, I mean, how does testing like work? Like, that's a lot of variations to test and potentially things to break the game, right? So like I always think about, what Paul would talk about when, what was it? Wixwell came to raid, right?
Mhm.
And like these other mechanics where it's like, did the devs even test these things? These things that to the community seem obvious, but potentially missed by the developers of Raid. Now, I'm not comparing Fateless to Plarium in any way. Um, but like in that context of texting of testing variations, especially with the various levels of everything that can be done to your guys' heroes, like what does that look like on y'all's end?
Well, we're trying to safeguard it so there's nothing like infinitely loopable or like recursive like that. Wixwell was like the one that would basically pump up shields. So you just had like an infinite, enormous shield, right? It just
Mhm.
kept growing.
Yep.
So we're already trying to work out like specifically with that. We have a shields and then we have barriers. Barriers is like a shield that can stack, but it's different. Um, Even then, we could kind of play with mechanics and stuff like that. So like if we were in a situation with Wixwell, with our because we are kind of worried about barriers. One thing we have to keep an eye on
Mhm.
because it's stackable and can grow. Potential solution is be changing the mechanics so like it's a shield but doesn't block all the damage. It's not something we have implemented or plan on at the moment, but it's just like a solution we can. So there's a lot of like mechanics we can step and try to fix real quick. But like I said, our main goal, not even so focused on balance at the moment in terms of like everyone has to be about the same like power like level amongst each other. Because it's a team game, so like you're gonna get massive differences in power just based on what you're using them for, and who you're using them with. Um, and you want some to just be better, like you want those chase heroes. But at the same time, nothing should be like broken or frustrating to go against. So that's like the big thing we're catching right now. And when I say broken again, like infinitely loopable, like like what I was encountering and playing some last night, where it was like I think this is a bug actually, but like someone's giving someone like their ultimate, and then their ultimate is like giving someone else the thing that would give them their ultimate, and kind of go
Mhm.
back and forth. And even then, we still have there's a fail safe in that you can't use the same ultimate twice in a single turn. So, like we were trying to make sure that there's nothing's loopable like that, like too much. But I mean, like if you can pull it off, like even like when I was like watching it happen, as long as there's like counterplay, and that's gonna be the big thing going forward, is there will be some busted shit that no one's gonna catch in this alpha, no one's gonna catch it on release, and it'll be maybe a year in, and all of a sudden they're like, "What the? How did they miss this? This is ridiculous." And like when that happens, like unless obviously it's like actually broken, like whoops, oh infinite combo. But like those should get caught pretty early on. It's people are usually really smart about seeing the word whenever and then figuring out how to break that. So well, hopefully that gets caught. But if something like later on down the road does become busted and it's just like not fun to go against something like that, like we have the room to add in new heroes and we want to be, you know, fairly fast at pumping out heroes because obviously we're a new game, but we're trying to launch with like over 200 heroes. Most new games now in this genre only launching with like 50. So we're already very ambitious there and we are on track for that, which is nice. We got like a really nice pipeline for pumping them out. So we'd like to be able to pump out because raid, you know, they're at like 1,000 or something now. Like that'd be great to one day get there, but that's like I don't want to say that's what we're competing with, but like if you make a Venn diagram between Godforge fans and raid fans, we expect the intersect to be very large. And if people are coming from a game where they have 1,000 and then it's just way less than that, like it's gonna just feel less fun. Like you have way less options. So we want to make sure we get pump those heroes out. And some of these heroes, they're going to be built to just counter things that are OP, right? So if it's something like dominating, you know, the meta or whatever in PvP or even PvE, we can add in like a good alternative so you don't have to use that comp. Like, oh, now I can also do this for this content. Or, you know, just counterplay PvP. Like, oh, you want to use this strategy? Well, no, I put in this guy that says if you do this, I win. So like not that extreme, but I mean,
And
you can go to that extreme.
that stuff is 1,000% gonna happen. I've been in gaming all my life, and I don't remember a single example of a game where no one ever found anything that was ridiculously overpowered, crazy. It's going to happen, and our job is gonna be to react swiftly and and design accordingly. So when it does happen, but
There's a lot of just crazy strong shit in the game right now in general that we're hoping for, like if everything feels like super strong, then like nothing is broken and or nothing's overpowered. If everything is kind of feeling. So there's a lot of legendaries who are like, oh my god, are they serious in this one? This guy's freaking nuts. But there's a lot of them that you would say that for now. So I'm hoping that it's on the right track. And there doesn't seem to be any like egregious like offenders at the moment in our first like 60 something heroes. So I don't know. You've been playing a bit in testing, Brand. I don't know if you've caught any yet, but no one seems beyond busted. Everyone kept saying like, oh, who's the best? I've been saying Quetzalcoatl. Like he's been sliding under the radar. So if you pull Quetzalcoatl, I think you hit the jackpot. Just be ready.
Really? Do you think that's just because of Speed King mentality?
Yeah.
Or
Well, yes. And he is the Speed King. But no, I don't think speed is as important in a game because this is thank God, and I'm already finding this so much more fun. 'Cause I'm also just like playing this Ethereum restart right now for market research and because I like it. It's fun. And anyways, it's just like raid where speed is so powerful because it's everything, right? The more turns you take, the better you're gonna do. Having an ultimate ability not like on the speed track by having like these its own stat initiative, which is like the speed for your ultimate, and then that fills your divinity, and you can use your ult when it's ready. It just takes it off speed. So speed is only like half your character, right? If you have the best speed in the game, well, great, but you're only doing like half your kit. So you can't like neglect initiative, or you definitely get away with in the same way where speed maxing is really powerful. So is initiative maxing, which I've been already testing that on like some characters, and it feels pretty good when you're ulting like sometimes even like twice in a long like wave. And
I've been saying
that's
forever. Oh, sorry, Dirk. I thought you were done. Go ahead. You can
yeah,
finish.
well, I was gonna say like that. I feel like speed isn't gonna just be king because we have initiative as well that you have to get, and then also like accuracy and resist are kind of secondary like stats in a lot of these games. I don't want to just say raid. Pretty much all the games I've seen. It's basically your accuracy and resist is just like you must be this tall to ride, like kind of barrier to entry on content. Like until you hit this number, 400 accuracy, you're not allowed to do this content on this difficulty. And we're trying to make them also more useful. So like resist in our game, it does what it does in raid, where you can resist debuffs or negative effects, but then also it lowers crit damage you take, like resilience or World of Warcraft. And having something like that is going to be a very powerful, like, oh, you went first. Well, I'm stacked to the gills on resist, so good luck landing a debuff on me or nuking me down. It's like we have powerful, more power in some throwaway stats that other games, I guess, don't really care about.
Right.
So yeah, this would be. I think a lot of variety to play with in stats, more than just more speed. I win. Like it. So
Well, I know we're kind of reaching, that point in time to wrap up. But did either of you have anything you weren't able to get in there as a question, and kind of ask, like a burning topic?
I would
Yeah.
I have one just from like more of like a UI perspective for a brand new user. Are there going to be any kind of screens that a first time player hops into and it's just too overwhelming? The example would be like somebody that's never played like an ARPG or something like that, hopping into Path of Exile and seeing that skill tree,
You
and
hit
you
level
just
2. You
close
hit level 2 and
Alt
press P.
F4,
And you're
I'm out. Is there have you guys like made any kind of headway or any kind of like effort to avoid having a
Yeah.
screen like that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Because that
has
can
a
go
lady
real fast.
has Lady H ever just closed the game on any particular screen?
Right. We were actually just discussing this yesterday, because in the alpha we have those conditions where you need to meet on each stage, to go ahead and clear it. But it's kind of difficult to see, like, am I using two bruisers or brawlers or slayers or not? And now I gotta go back and check. And so we were discussing ways to like long hold and then pull up the whole hero card to see everything about a hero. And then we were like, well, geez, is that too much? Is that overwhelming? Like I long hold, now I can see my whole team. I can see the stage. I can see all the gear. I can see all the stats. And it's like, is that going to pop up and be like, whoa, what is this game? So we are actually debating that and discussing the ways around that. There won't be anything like the
Yeah,
PoE
there's
passive tree, though.
there's no skill tree like Path of Exile at the moment where you just like where it's like almost meant to wow you for for better or worse. Because
Right.
the person that's meant to play Path of Exile is gonna see that and be like, oh, like what is this? And the person that's not meant to play is gonna see it and be like, this isn't what I was looking for. I was looking for more like a Diablo, which I'm not to knock that. It's like some people want more action in their action RPG and less spreadsheet, right? So it's not like a negative thing to say that. But yeah, there's nothing I think completely overwhelming in our game that you wouldn't see in any other game in the genre. The whole imprint system we put into a separate place, so it kind of like that's one thing that I guess we have that other games wouldn't have, but it has its own like area for it, so it's not like tacked on to familiar spaces you're used to. And then a lot of it, like what Brad's trying to say, we're trying to kind of like add in extra stuff, like I said, the pop-up systems, and like this was what he's talking about is like essentially you could pop up everything on your character in like a little card. But things like that, I think they are certainly overwhelming, but as long as it's like optional, like, do you want to know more? And then you click it, like I do. Whereas if you're like, nah, I don't, like as long as like it's I guess clean looking for the person who doesn't care. And then you have all the information for the person who does, like a click away. That helps to alleviate that like overwhelming feeling.
We
You're
have that
only
for the abilities
want
where
right?
you can check details or not. So
Right.
do you want to see what the like
And
those
that's been
does,
a focus. And
or do you
honestly,
want the multipliers?
testing will be super important for this too, because there's some things where it's just in practice when you're not like looking at it versus when all of a sudden you're actually doing it, that you're going to catch some things. Like our gear upgrading system right now, just the process of it. I was just telling Sham this. I think we have both the best and the worst right now. Best being like, I have never felt a snappier upgrade in my entire life. Of like where you just like drag the bar, click it, and you can like it's done. The second you click confirm, you're free. There's no like there is cool animations and shit. You're not like held hostage to watch it. It
Yeah,
is
it's not like
so snap.
ching
It feels
ching
so snappy.
ching.
You almost feel like you're gonna break the game, but it doesn't. You're like, this is insane. How did like we've invented something new, like quantum fucking gear upgrading here. But at the same time, something simple like we don't have on your character. There's no way to like to see your character's gear without him like back out to the previous screen. So it's like you have to use this awesome snappiness to go back and forth 8 times or whatever. But like so there's things like that we need to kind of like once we're doing it in practice, be like, oh god, we gotta definitely get this in there. There's a lot of quality of light to be made for sure. And that's where you need a lot of feedback on that. But yeah, like I said, like there's there's nothing at the moment, at least overwhelming or that feels terrible. So I guess you guys would be the judge of that, but
I mean, we'll let you know.
yeah,
They definitely let us know. Yeah, we love to hear it. And did we ever let you, Charlemagne, say what your favorite hero would be if you could put a hero in Godforge? Have you gotten to do that yet?
I have not done it yet,
Okay.
but I think my name says it all. I think it'd be really cool to see a
Charlie-
Charlemagne inside of Godforge. I think he's myth legend enough.
Yeah, no, he that certainly fits the bill.
Yeah.
I think we just don't have the faction for him at the moment.
Yeah,
'Cause-
it's like that, England faction concept, but like Arthurian is too Arthurian.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. We're not. There was a few others too,
Like a
and I remember this thing,
Byzantine faction.
it dips into like French too, but it's not quite French.
Yeah, yeah,
'Cause
absolutely.
I know like Joan of Arc and stuff like that, or even like the Musketeers. We talked about having them. Like we weren't sure how far we wanted that faction to go, and I guess right now it's mostly just Arthurian, and we didn't want it to be like Arthurian plus all of this plus Europe. So that probably just has to be its own faction down the road. Hopefully one day we'll have to figure it out, or maybe
I
we'll
mean, the
just grow
perfect place
expand.
for Robin Hood, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Exactly.
Robin Hood's gonna find his way in Arthurian for sure. I mean,
Is
that's
he
already
Seeker's
like
68th champion?
yeah, that's gonna be expanding it. But the Robin Hood's been like a long joke we've had for a while. So for some reason the Brits don't like him, even though he's like we found out he's like an American hero in a way, despite being like a British character.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they look at him like, oh, what couldn't he just listen to the sheriff and there'd be no problems? But we see him as like, oh yeah, of course he's sticking it to the man.
There's a different perception of who
Yeah.
Robin Hood is depending on kind of where you grew up. Like, is
Well,
he a
you get your
meme?
license and you don't have to be in any trouble with the law.
History retelling through story, right? So take that as you will.
Exactly. Well, hey, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us, guys, and we're gonna link down below to Brandon and Charlemagne's stuff. Definitely worth checking out. And then, like we mentioned, join the Discord and let us know your thoughts on things like design and the alpha and everything going on here with Godforge. So, thanks everybody, and we will see you soon in the next Fateless podcast episode. Cheers.